What is the BRRRR strategy? It is a method investors use to acquire real estate. The steps are to buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. So to buy, it is very common for investors to use other people's money to purchase the property. Think of a private lender, hard money, or a close friend. The property will typically require more extensive renovations. In the renovate phase, the investor will force appreciation of the property through the renovations. This is known as value-add real estate. Time is always money, so it's best to be efficient as possible through this step. Next up, rent. Now that your property is rent ready, market the home and screen potential tenants. By finding the best quality tenants through background and credit checks and seeking references, the more you will minimize the risk of having issues. Refinance. Now that you have a tenant in place in your freshly renovated home, refinance the property with a lender. Your new loan will pay off the original loan, as well as cover any renovation expenses you put into the property. Now it's time to repeat the process. You have recycled your cash and you just gained a cash flowing asset. So go find another property and do it again.
So you may ask yourself, so what does this guy know about this strategy? Let me tell you, I'm many things, but I'm not a bullshitter. We built 90% of our rental portfolio using the BRRRR method. From day one, my goal was to buy as much real estate as possible with the least amount of my own money. I literally started with just a few $1,000s in savings while I was working a full-time job making a whopping $8 an hour. Leveraging other people's money allows you to grow a business while eliminating the need to have a ton of cash to do so. This method helps to keep your money in your pocket and enables you to scale your rental portfolio at a great speed. When done the most effectively, you can acquire real estate, get paid in the process, and continue to get monthly income from your rental property business. And I haven't even touched on the impact of depreciation and appreciation, which are two powerful components in real estate. When using the BRRRR strategy, your returns can literally be infinity. Think about it. If you're making money, building wealth, and you have $0 in the deal after you refinance, your investment returns are infinite. Now, let's go through a deal so you can better understand the BRRRR method with easy numbers. So let's run through an example here. We'll say the purchase price is 100 grand, closing costs are 2,500, the rehab's 25 grand, and the ARV is $200,000. So by using the BRRRR method, typically the investor will use private money to purchase the deal. We've borrowed anywhere from 0% up to 12% and have paid points on the loan anywhere from 0 to 5 points. Side note, 5 points on the loan is a good bit. That's 5% of the loan amount. But this was the first time we used this particular hard money lender, and the property itself was a little outside of our typical buy box. As far as the money needed for the rehab, we typically use our own money here, but there have been deals when we also borrowed this money from a private lender as well. Next, you complete the renovation. You market the property for rent and you sign a lease with your new tenants. Now, you go to the bank to refinance the property. This is called a cash out refinance. Many lenders will allow up to around 75% LTV, loan to value, for this type of refinance. So for this particular situation, if the ARV of the property was 200 grand, a 75% LTV would be $150,000. So to look at these numbers, the bank refinances your property. This new loan of 150 grand will pay off your all-in cost of $127,500, which is the amount of money it took to buy the property and get it in a rent-ready shape. There are always refinance costs to do the new loan, which we'll say is around $2,500 as well. All in all, the new loan of 150 grand minus your all-in cost of $127,500 minus the refinance cost of $2,500 leaves an amount of $20,000. So at the refinance settlement, you are given a check for $20,000. So using this example, here's a summary of the differences between traditional investing and using the BRRRR strategy. In each method, you gain one rental property, but there are major differences. For a traditional rental property investment purchase, you put 20% down of the purchase price, you have your 5 grand in closing costs and your 25 grand in rehab. So all in, you have just under $50,000 of your own money out of your pocket and put into the property. But using the BRRRR method, all your money was kept in your pocket once the deal was complete, and you received an additional $20,000 at settlement. To summarize this deal, you have $0 invested of your own money. You gained a hard asset, which is the real estate. You made $20,000 on the deal at the refinance. You're now sitting on $50,000 in equity, and you're making $302 in monthly cash flow. You also get to take the depreciation deduction on your taxes. All those things are surely winners, and for those reasons, that's why we've used this investing strategy to build our own portfolio. Hopefully, this illustration has helped you better understand the BRRRR method. And yes, there's been times we've made more than $20,000 at the refinance and times we've made less. There's even been times we've had to bring money to the settlement table at the refinance. In that situation, it's reasonable for one to think, well, that's a bad BRRRR deal. But think about it. If I had to pay 10 grand out of my pocket for one house, that's still far less money out of my pocket compared to the 20% down payment plus rehab costs using the traditional way to purchase a rental property. Like I said at the beginning of this video, my goal from the start was to buy as much real estate as possible with the least amount of my own money. And once I did one deal, I thought, well, that was pretty cool. Let's do another, because if one's good, then two must be better. And if two's better, then why not 10? Why not 20? So unless you have tons of cash sitting idle in your bank account, you can see here why using the BRRRR strategy will help you acquire as much real estate as possible with putting the least amount of money out. If this method worked for a dumb hillbilly like myself, I'm sure it can work for you too. Best of luck in your real estate investing journey.